YouTube? Mr. King coming at you live from the studio. So here are the questions for the day. Do you think animals deserve rights? Meaning, do you think like we should protect animals, or do you think we should just do whatever we want with them? And then number two, why do you think animals camouflage? Why do you think they try and blend in? What are some advantages to blending in? And then three, do you think individual moths can choose being dark or white? So when those moths are born, are they like, I want to be a dark moth or I want to be a white moth? What do you think happens? Next, grades are up to date. We do have Thanksgiving break next week. Here are some questions people asked about natural selection. If the trees were originally dirty, how did they get cleaned? So from the Gizmo yesterday, basically what happened, once the government started enforcing clean air, eventually wind and rain washed away all the pollution. Someone asked, how are the moths able to change color over time? So what happens, the moths that were more fit or camouflaged were able to survive and pass on their genes. So eventually more moths end up blending in. Someone asked, does this happen to all animals to camouflage? Basically, any animal that can blend in will outcompete any animal that will stick out. Okay, so then someone asked, how did the trees turn black in the first place? A lot of ash from factories or fires covered the trees, making the dark moths take over. Someone asked, how did the moths adapt so quickly? So since dark moths were getting slaughtered when the trees were white, the light moths had a huge advantage. And since the birds were killing so many moths, the moths had to adapt quickly, and all the light moths were taking over really quick. Next, finish your natural selection gizmo from yesterday, from Monday. If you're already done, you can work ahead and do the attendance survey. Next, so here's our next unit. We're going over evolution. In evolution, we really want to think, why do populations, like humans, change over time? Why do we have such a huge variety of skin color? That has to do with evolution. But to talk about evolution, first I want to talk about variety. Variety basically means different types. Just go to Tuesday and then pull up natural selection notes right here. And you're learning, why is it helpful to have variety? Why is it good to have different types? That's what we're going to be talking about the next couple days. To try and think, why can it be good to be different? What are some advantages to being different or having different options? These were a hint. So the point is, variety helps you survive. If you have a lot of traits, some will be good and some will be bad. So if you have variety, you have options, so you have more good options. So for example, if there's a lot of different skin colors, some skin colors, like dark skin, there'll be a lot more people with more UV protection. So if there were no dark people and there was no variation, everyone was white, there'd be a lot more skin cancer in the world. And that's a good thing. That's why you have dark skin, so you can have more melanin or more protection. Or like if there were only slow cheetahs, then they would never catch food and they become extinct. The next word, trait. Remember to be filling these out as we go. So answer, why is it good to be different? And then get a picture that represents, why is it be good? Why can it be an advantage to be special? I use the example of like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is 6'11". He's way taller than average, and that's a huge advantage because this basketball player, he can dunk a lot easier. So next one, what is a trait? A trait is a quality or characteristic. Try and think like, what are some qualities you know about bats? Or you could think it's just something about you or something about an object. Try and think like, what are some traits of Kanye West? Next word is variety or variation. Variation refers to differences in DNA and traits within a population. Some traits are good, some traits are bad. But adaptations refer to the traits that are good. Good traits that make you more likely to survive are adaptations. So remember we talked about how dark skin can be an adaptation and how light skin can. And then last word, natural selection. Natural selection is where the organisms best adapted will survive and produce more offspring or more babies. This is known as the process of natural selection. So here's my example. Let's say you have a shark in the water. The fastest fish will be the best adapted because it can get away. This faster one will be fine as long as there's other slower fish. But this fish is called bait because it is the slowest, so it will be slaughtered by these sharks. That is natural selection. This fish is too slow, so it's not well adapted. But this fast fish is. So this one will have more babies because it'll survive. And then eventually, a lot more fish will be fast because those are all the ones that are surviving. That's natural selection. Last thing before you turn your notes, write a summary. To get full points, answer this. Why is variety helpful? Why is it good to have variety? And use vocab we learned, like variety, natural selection, traits, and adaptation. Yep. Once you're done with your summary, please turn it in and then take this attendance survey. Yep, that's it. Thank you everyone for staying with me.